There's a rage way down inside me, a fire that's branded my soul, and it leaves me as one of the many, with a hate so hard to control. But I've seen that hate is not the answer. There's a time when we all must decide to step on up with wisdom and power, and say, children, let's give up the fight. Oh, consider this for a moment or two of crimson red. You are ocean blue. We're just two, not many colors, in a stained glass window. And love is the light shining through. Now you can find 1,000 explanations to demote my position with a card. Oh, but I've discovered a divine resolution. Oh Lord, I'm embraced by the light of His love. Oh, consider this for a moment or two. I'm crimson red. You are ocean blue. Oh Lord, we're just two of many colors in a stained glass window. And love is the light that's shining through. Say, love is the light that's shining through. Shine, oh,
shine your light.
shine, shine,
Shine your
shine, oh, like shine, 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 shine. Consider this, oh, the moment or two of crimson rain. You are ocean blue. Oh Lord, we're just two of many colors in a stained glass window. Love is the light that's shining through. Yeah, love is the light that's shining through.
love is the light that is
Shining through. One, two, three. There is one whom I have wronged, and he looks at me angrily. This bothers me. No matter what I do, I offer my apologies. Always he ignores my pleas, but I ask myself what the better man would do. He would forgive me, so I'll forgive me too. There have been so many times that I have felt so low, I would rather die than look at me from someone else's view. And always there were those who would gladly tell me I'm no good, but I ask myself what the better man would do. He would love me, so I will love me too. I've been ashamed of the life that I've been living. So take my hand, tell me I'm forgiven. I've been ashamed of the life that I've been living. So take my hand and tell me I'm forgiven. So if you're walking down the street and you see a soul who's in defeat, don't you pass him by, no matter what you do. Brother, don't you understand that when you lend a helping hand, the person that you really help is you, yeah. Love your neighbor, and he will love you too. If you do the things, if you do the things, hey, if you do things the better man will do.
Dream that don't have a chance to come true now. It just takes a little faith, baby. Anything that we want to do, we can do now. There ain't nothing in the way, yeah, yeah. Nothing in love can rise above. We can get to the night, we can get to the light, as long as we have love to light the way. stop us, because love is on the side, yeah, yeah. We can reach the heavens and touch the sky. Just believe it, believe in you and I, yeah, yeah. If we have love that is strong enough, we can do anything, make it through anything. 'Cause through it all, love will always find a way, yeah, 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 yeah. With a faith, just a little trust, if you believe. Love, love can move mountains. Believe in your heart and feel, believe in your soul. And love, love can move mountains. Trust, love, love can move it. You believe in me, I believe in you. If we believe in each other, nothing we can't do. If we have love that is strong enough, let us find a way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With a little faith, just a little trust, if you believe it. Love, love can move mountains. Believe in your heart and feel, feel it in your soul. And love, love can move mountains. With faith, just a little trust, if you believe. Love, love can move mountains. Believe in your heart and feel, feel it in your soul. Love, love can move mountains. With faith, just a little trust, receive. Love, love can move mountains. Believe in your heart, feel, feel it in your soul. Love, love can move mountains.
Every morning, the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day, I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. Oh, things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Oh, I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away. Thank you.
A time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am only here for God. Let me turn my mic down just a hair. It was peeking there for a moment. Well, good morning and welcome back to our Sunday. And ostensibly, this is our last Sunday that's completely virtual because supposedly, and I say supposedly only because there's been a lot of spiking in coronavirus numbers over the last week. But I have a call out to the San Bernardino County Health Department after the weekend, and I see Dawn is on. Good morning, Dawn. So you and I have to check with City Hall just to make sure that everything is going copacetically. But supposedly next Sunday and the Sunday after we're gonna have our 2 rehearsal Sundays for social distancing, where the whole crew is going to reset up the sanctuary with social distancing, 6 feet apart, family pods, and we'll have live music with me and either Chris or David or both, depending on how we configure it. And and Marina just arrived at the office too. Hi, Marina. And so this will be our last, hopefully totally virtual Sunday. So let's start off with some prayer. I'm excited about today's message and some special music from Karen Mitchell, and Clay Reynolds is our practitioner today. And we also have a special video message from Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, who's the senior minister at CSL Baltimore. And let's start off with some prayer. So I'm going to put up some of Donna Michael's beautiful music here this morning. Here we go. Oh, and I'm going to turn off that beeping sound that my computer makes when I change the volume, so that we don't have any of those silly sound effects during service, like ducks quacking and stuff like that. All right, I invite us all to, right where we are, to simply take a breath. Breathing in the magnificence of this day. The weather's a little bit cooler, the skies are clear. God's beautiful outside is a simple reflection of our God's beautiful inside. And so today I speak a word knowing that regardless of what may be happening around us, that there is only love. And that each of us represents this love, individualizes this love. I know that there is one life. We are all a part of it. There's one life. That life is God. That life is a perfect expression of divine consciousness, and that life is my life now and the life of each of us, members of the High Desert Center for Spiritual Living, and of course our family, our friends, our community, our geographical community, wherever we may be. We don't say things are perfect when things aren't perfect. We don't say peace when there is no peace, but we recognize that behind every experience, there is peace, there is love. There is a divine consciousness where everything flows together in love. And of course, as Emerson reminds us, love is our highest word. It's a synonym for God. And so this morning, in the consciousness of speaking love and living from love and acting love, I bless us all. I bless our time together. I bless our community, knowing that as we move towards integrating ourselves into a live, in-person community again, that we are safe, we are held in the hands of grace, that all of our decisions and our protections and our even, yes, rules and regulations from the county and the city of Apple Valley that we must follow, they are all in alignment with our highest good to protect us, to love us, to express the love of the divine in our municipalities. I simply know that all is well. And in this knowing, I bless us, and I release this blessing into the action of that loving and mechanically accurate law. I let it be, and I let it go, as together we affirm. And so it is. And so it is. So Fred said maybe we should start after Father's Day. Well, we kind of have our schedule in place. So if that day doesn't work for you, you don't have to show up, and we will work around anybody and everybody's schedule, because we've kind of already put out a we're already kind of in motion. So let's Let's go directly to our promises this morning, and let's say Dr. Holmes's words together as an affirmation of our unity. Let's go right to this. I keep the promise that I have made myself in this moment that I am abundant, healthy, strong, and happy. I keep the intention to daily speak this truth to my inner soul, telling it that it is wonderful and marvelous, that it is one with the great cause of life, truth, power, and action. I whisper these things into my soul until it breaks forth into songs of joy. With the realization of its limitless possibilities, I assure my soul. Well, let's go ahead and assure our souls by singing I Remember Who I Am. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are is pure spirit. Okay, let's try that together. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are is pure spirit. We are life. We are life. We are light. We are love. We are joy. We are peace. We are wisdom and beautiful harmony. We are pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are is pure spirit. Yes, who we are is pure spirit. One last time. Yes, who we are is pure spirit. It feels so good to sing that, and it feels good to know that you guys are singing it with me. Oh, by the way, tonight at 5:30, I put the link on Facebook, and I will also send out a text message to everybody. At 5:30, I am participating in a candlelight prayer vigil hosted by Seattle Center for Spiritual Living. I'm providing the music and doing a meditation, but there's a whole bunch of ministers and practitioners who are participating in a candle lighting ceremony. Good morning, Brandy. Hi, Ellie. Dawn says, that's my most favorite song in the world. That my song? Oh, wow. That's wonderful. So thank you. I'll be doing this candlelight service this evening, so I'll send. It's at 5:30 for 1 hour, 5:30 to 6:30. Bring a candle and your heart. So let's go on to our community affirmation. You'll remember that I added, I believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. So let's go ahead and say it from the very beginning. I believe in one power, one living spirit, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. I believe that spirit expresses through me and is the unity of all life. I believe that the kingdom of heaven is within, and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. I believe that all thought is creative, and that how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. And I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. So, who else got in this morning? Brandy's here, Dusty's here, Dave and Sia, Charles, Christy, okay. Joan is here. And of course, our practitioner coming up in a minute is Clay, and our music this morning is the Reverend Karen Mitchell. I wanted to say this week I received many communications from members of the HDCSL family who were very appreciative and supportive of the stand that I feel that I'm called to make about ending institutionalized racism in our country. But I also did receive a few communications from people in our community who did not feel that they needed to participate in any national reconciliation and forgiveness practice because they don't feel that they have ever consciously or unconsciously perpetrated any acts of racism, institutional or otherwise. And this creates a challenge for me because I'm so strongly called by Spirit in my prayers to stand up for this conscious dismantling of institutionalized racism in our country and to teach this reconciliation and forgiveness practice because I feel that it's not enough to not be racist. I think now we all have to be actively anti-racist. I'm going to say that again. It's not enough to just not be racist. I believe that we all have to be actively anti-racist. And this week, my friend, Reverend Mary Murray Schulten, who's in the Bay Area, she reminded me in a minister's prayer circle that collective creation is different from our individual creation. Collective creation happens unconsciously, but it includes all of us. And we've all been a part of the collective creation of this system of institutional racism in this country. No one person is responsible for creating it, but each of us, each individual, is capable of contributing toward changing it. And this is true even if you don't have or feel you have any personal experience that relates to the issue. So I want us all to watch this video of my friend, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, who's the senior minister at our Center for Spiritual Living in Baltimore. Now, Ray created this video originally for ministers in the field, for all of us who lead communities. But I wanted us all to see it together because he beautifully explains the radical inclusivity language of our Centers for Spiritual Living's anti-racism position paper, which I posted on Facebook 2 weeks ago, and I'll make available to anybody that hasn't seen it yet. Let's watch Ray's video together.
Namaste and greetings, my fellow CSL colleagues. So I decided to do this as a video instead of typing it out, just to make sure that there was no possible way for tone or anything to be inferred or applied in a way where it was not authentically intended. So, best way is directly from one's mouth and vocal cords. So the reason that I'm speaking here now is basically plain and simply that I noticed a few emails regarding the statement sent out. Don't remember when it was originally sent out, but the statement from the SMSE team and some changes that have been made and have been commented on in a way where it is making a change, making an improvement on the original statement. One, I would strongly encourage you to leave the statement as it was written, or if anything, if you're going to send the statement out to your community, if anything, add resources to the list so that when you send this, you can send resources of ways that people in the community can be involved in the dismantling of this thing called racism. That is a thing. It is a condition. And our not being willing to name a thing is part of the problem. So, for example, I used to be a public school teacher. And when I would tell students, first day of school, and they're coming in my room and I'm letting them know the ground rules of my classroom and how I conduct my classroom, and I go through, it's a classroom where everyone's voice is heard, where everyone is respected, etc., etc., etc. Justice. And what I noticed is when I specifically added in, I will not tolerate bullying. I will not tolerate ... The students who had experienced bullying, etc., appreciated the fact that I was making sure they knew that this safe environment included this aspect of their experience. And so what I realized is when I don't specifically tell them that I see you and I know what you are experiencing, and this space is a space where you will not experience that by name. You will not experience homophobia in my classroom. You will not experience bullying in my classroom. And they appreciated the fact that I was calling it out. We have other colleagues in other professions, such as the medical profession, and I would venture to say that if any of them were to simply attest to, as a physician, I am for health and well-being. And that's it. That's all they put on the business card. That's all they say. I'm a medical professional. I am an MD who focuses on health and well-being, period. How do I know that you know how to address whatever experience, whatever condition my body or the body of my mother is experiencing? If you don't tell me that you are skilled in addressing Alzheimer's and dementia, how do I know that I bring her to you? Unless you name the thing that you are addressing in order to restore the essence of wholeness and perfection of her being to the best of your ability. So while I understand in the grand scope of things, yes, that is what we are for. We are for justice and for equity and for oneness and unity. Yes, we are. But if we're not cutting edge enough to directly say, we are so cutting edge and our philosophy is so profoundly impactful and applicable to heal racism, to heal sexism, to heal xenophobia and homophobia and transphobia, if we are not going to say this philosophy is applicable, then we are going to stay relegated to being the best kept secret that no one knows, and when they hear about us, they think we're Scientology. Even, I just came across, hold on a second, an email from Lion's Roar magazine, which is a Buddhist magazine that I subscribe to, and the article, and I'm going to include it in the email. The article, the title is Race, Reclamation, and the Resilience Revolution. And they go through, like they're naming stuff. They're calling it for what it is. Even the Dalai Lama recently in India heard about what happened to George Floyd here and made a comment about racism. And we respect the Dalai Lama. And he called a thing and talked about how Buddhism can be used as the balm of Gilead on racism and race-based hate, etc. So I encourage us to step into the space of having those courageous conversations when we put this statement out there as written and congregants question, well, why are we talking about this and why are we talking about that? And have the conversation that says, this is why. Because if we are going to be radically inclusive, then we have to talk about and address the very thing that blocks inclusion in the nation. So I just wanted to say, personally, I would greatly encourage all of us to leave the words racism in, to not, quote unquote, water it down, because the feeling, it's mine, but the feeling is that's simply bypassing it. I don't necessarily mean spiritually bypassing. I mean, here's this thing called racism, and rather than addressing it head on with this teaching, we are going around it and not even acknowledging that it is even there. And as a man of color, if I were to walk into any center where that's done, guarantee you I wouldn't come back. I know a whole bunch of people that wouldn't come back. To me, that's not radically inclusive. So this is an invitation for us to call a thing, address it for what it is. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. So when we as a movement, when we as a cutting edge teaching and philosophy, when we step into the nationwide arena and say, not all houses, like Reverend Rafe posted a graphic saying all houses matter. Yeah, but to that house that's burning right now, your house isn't on fire. That one is. So the firemen don't need to come and focus on your house or your house or your house. They need to focus on the house that's on fire. And if they never say fire, how do you fight a fire if you're only for non-fire? You're only for the flameless. Then how do you put out the thing that shall not be named? How do you get the, well, you can't call it a fire hose because then I have to say fire. How do I get the hose to put water into it to put that orange stuff? How do I stop that? Right? So we have to call a thing. It's fire. It's damaging. It's destructive in this instance. And I'm here to fight it. I am here to quell the fire. I am here to beneficially take care of those who may be trapped in the fire, those who may be unconscious in the fire. Go in, rescue them, pull them out, restore them, rejuvenate them, resuscitate them, and put the fire out. Namaste.
I love that. I think Ray is brilliant. His doctorate is not an honorary doctorate. He has a doctorate in divinity. And he's also a sign language interpreter like I am. So we share a lot of stuff. You know, as Mary Murray Shelton said, our collective creation is unconscious, but it includes all of us. Dawn said, you don't have to be a part of the problem to be a part of the solution. Exactly my point, Dawn. And yes, no one person is responsible for creating this experience of institutionalized racism in our nation, but each of us is capable of contributing toward ending it. And this is true even if you feel that you don't have any personal relationship to it or any personal experience from it. It's not enough to not be racist. We all have to be anti-racist. And that's all I'm going to say going forward about using the Ho'oponopono prayer and meditation for an exercise in reconciliation. We're not going to do the meditation today, but let's say this together as a country, as a community. And if you feel like you don't have to take personal responsibility, participate in a national reconciliation. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Karen, can you unmute yourself? Because I'm coming to you next. Can you push that button? There you are. Let me see. Karen, are you with me?
I'm here.
You're here. Reverend
Can you
Karen
hear me?
Mitchell. I can, and you sound beautiful too.
Oh, thank
I
you.
was so looking forward to your music this morning. Let's have your first song.
Okay. So this song I wrote back when I was first taking Science of Mind classes because they were teaching me the method of prayer that we use called affirmative prayer treatment. And in the way I was learning it, there were 5 steps. Some of you all may say there's 7 steps, there's 5, there's 9, I don't know. It's all good, but there were 5 steps, and I really wanted to make sure I got them in exactly the right order, because that's the kind of person I am. So I knew I would never remember it unless I put it to music. So you'll hear, you practitioners and you people maybe taking some classes, you'll hear the 5 steps of affirmative prayer treatment right in the song. Okay, this is not a test. Okay, this is called And So It Is. Love is all there is. I am one in the Spirit. I realize the truth and I speak it. I am thankful for it all. I release it. I let it go. And so it is. And so it is. I know it is. And I receive as I believe. Amen. Amen. God is all there is. I am one in the Spirit. I realize the truth and I speak it. I am thankful for it all and I release it. I let it go. And so it is. And so it is. I know it is. And I receive as I believe. Amen. Amen. Ashe. Satnam. Amen.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you back in a couple minutes after Clay. So I'm going to go to Clay now. Clay, are you? Did you unmute yourself, Clay?
I did.
Oh, you did. Good morning, Clay.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning, family. How's everybody?
Oh, I'm glad to see you. So, and I was asking before. So your mom's in Vegas, right?
Yes.
And things are
yes.
starting to open up there, but she's safe and good. And
She's safe and good, and I'm going to wait a little while before I go up and join the fray.
I think that's pretty smart. I think that's pretty smart. Yeah. I have a friend who's in Vegas who said all of craziness is ensuing again. So like people
Yes.
know masks and stuff like that. So just be careful.
Yes.
So you have our affirmation and our flames and everything. So I'm going to go to you and let's start off with our affirmation. Here we go.
All right. Our affirmation today is, my faith is strong, my intentions are clear and powerful. Let's say that together. My faith is strong, my intentions are clear and powerful. One more time. My faith is strong, my intentions are clear and powerful. It's my pleasure to share the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony on Sundays to promote the universal consciousness of life which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all beings come from the one great universal presence which we call spirit. The unity candle represents the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle, honoring all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principle. We light the 10th candle for inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome here. And as we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light names of loved ones, knowing that they have the experience of Spirit's eternal love. And so it is. It's my pleasure to share a spiritual mind treatment with you. In this moment, I acknowledge God, the all-powerful and everywhere present Spirit and creator of the entire universe. This absolute energy, absolute intelligence, and absolute presence in and throughout creation is all that there is. Today, my life is a reflection of the grace and goodness of God. The one life that is God, whole, perfect, and complete, is my life now. Knowing God's love is filling my soul, my deepened awareness of its power and presence reveals grace now and always. Divine guidance governs the successful activities of my life. My mind is renewed through the awareness of God as my center and my source. I am filled with joy and a sense of love operating through me in every way. There is no fear or doubt, for God is the only power in my life. I'm grateful for all the blessings I enjoy. I'm grateful for knowing that peace, wisdom, love, balance, health, and creativity are mine when I realize my unity with the one source. I hold great gratitude for Reverend Doug, or the Spiritual Center, the men and women, the boys and girls who belong to our center. Your energy feeds my soul. And thank you, Reverend Karen, for sharing your gifts today. With peace and gratitude, I release these words into universal law, knowing even as I speak this affirmative prayer, it's already complete, already done in the divine mind. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thanks, Clay. You're always such a, as a practitioner, you're always such a grounding and clear force. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to unceremoniously hang up on you now, or you can hang up, and we're going to go back to Karen. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to go back to Karen for your next song. Have you already unmuted yourself, Karen?
You betcha.
Okay, good. So I love this
Thank you, Clay,
song.
for that beautiful treatment.
I love this song. Yeah, Clay, thanks so much. And Karen, by the way, you got, I don't know if you could see the texts on YouTube, but oh man. See, Charles Smith said your song was beautiful. Lori Smith said, great job, Karen. Christy said, oh, loved that. Wow, loved that. Dawn Simmons, so beautiful. So everybody really, really enjoyed your first song. So let's have at it for number 2.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Wow, I'm so glad that you're all here this morning with me and with Reverend Doug. It's really so super great to be here and just to be showing up for ourselves and taking action and showing up for each other. So thank you for that. So I wrote this song. It's called Only Love Can Do That. I wrote it because I was inspired by a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. And I just was feeling that many times we just try to solve the same old problems without looking at it in a new way or letting love or spirit figure out the way to solve it. So anyway, here it is. Only love can do that. We try to solve our problems with the same thoughts that created them. Time to put out the closet and throw away what's holding us back today. And it's the same old questions. It's the same old lessons learned. We gotta get to the feelings underneath. Find out what we believe. Darkness cannot fight out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Only love can do that. We try to let the hurt go with the same fear that created it. Time to pull off the covers and reveal everything to be healed. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Only love can do that. Sometimes it seems we've got so far to go. Sometimes it seems we just don't want to know the anger and the pain and the suffering remains till we let it go. Deep inside we know darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Only love can do that.
Wow. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for participating in our service this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You know how much
Doug,
I
for
love
asking.
you and Kevin. So thank you so much. And thank you, Kevin, for engineering the time today and helping us get it all together. Very much appreciated. You look beautiful. Yes, exactly. You look beautiful. You sound great. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
All right,
It's a great service. I'm going to listen to the rest of it
On YouTube.
muted.
All right. Thanks.
Love you.
Oh, Lori says, thank you, Karen, for revealing light and love. Namaste. So, good. Yeah, that is beautiful. And I love that song. And obviously, inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. The suffering remains until I let it go, though. That's actually my favorite line of the song. I love that. And we're talking about intention today. The suffering remains until I let it go. You know, each of us has the power of our own intention. And this week, of course, as part of our June Mindfulness for Mavericks, we're in week 2, and our topic is mindful intentions. And our theme is, you know, that all demonstrations are complete when what you set into motion through the law of mind appears in form. All demonstrations first begin as thought. The power of intention is a demonstration of your faith and in the invisible substance of life. Faith in the invisible substance of life. You know, whatever we may be going through, consciously changing that experience always begins with a thought in our own mind, which is part of the larger universal mind and consciousness. The suffering remains until I let it go. And, you know, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote, trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. And he goes on to say, the more conscious that we are of the power in our thinking, the greater our responsibility is to use that power correctly. So, you know, it's funny, in my 12-step program, they have a saying, you know, there's nothing worse than a head full of how and a stomach full of sugar. Meaning there's nothing worse than knowing you don't have to be, you know, experiencing an addiction to sugar by working this program, but not choosing to do it, right? Same thing with our teaching. The more conscious we are of the power of our thinking, the greater our responsibility is to use that. If you know that you can change your experience by changing your thinking and you don't do that, that's on you. It's not on God, and it's not on the world. So in this second week of June, we are focusing on that responsibility that we have to be mindful with our intentions and to nurture them with our conscious awareness. And trust me, I know that this takes practice. You know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Ellie said to Karen, what wonderful song and wonderful song choice. And Monica said, absolutely beautiful, powerful, and true. Thank you, Karen. I agree. And Joanne says, beautiful, Karen, thank you. And Tina agrees, so true, I love this. You know, practice, practice, practice. That's what we're talking about. And what I mean by practice here is not just our spiritual practice, but to do it with the thought that shifting the tendency of what we dwell on. I'm going to be like this guy in this picture, you know. What do we dwell on? You know, what media do we consume? What do we talk about with our friends and family? What do we have confidence in? Shifting our thinking so that more and more of the time our intentions are what we place into our mindful choices. So say, to think about what do you want, and actually think about what do you want. Think about what you want, and then actually think about what you want. You know, if you say you want to experience one thing, but you spend most of your time dwelling on its opposite, what are you really creating an experience of? In the Old Testament, in Proverbs 23:7, it says, as a person thinketh in their heart, so they are. It doesn't say what you think in your momentary, everyday, ordinary thoughts, or what you think in your random thoughts, or in your fleeting thoughts. No, it says what we think in our heart. Our heart, so we are. What we think in our heart. And of course, we know that in our society and in our minds, when we talk about our heart, the heart is that symbol of our central, essential, life-giving force, the divine within us. And what lives in our hearts is an important contributor to how we show up in the world, right? And I think it's important for us to be mindful of what we allow to be nurtured in our hearts, and for us to be mindful of what we think in our hearts. Know what you really believe. Know what you really think. You might be surprised to find out that you actually think something that you don't think you think, or that you don't think you believe. I think we have to start by being mindful and aware of what we are thinking.
It's interesting when people have a difficult time understanding it. I think your shower example is the best.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I like to say to people, okay, here's a little homework for you after we've talked about mindfulness. And it's very important to keep in mind that mindfulness is not a concept, it's a practice. You have to actually exercise a certain kind of muscle. So I say, here's a little mindfulness homework for you. The next time you're in the shower, check and see if you're in the shower. Because you may not be in the shower, or you may have your whole Monday morning, 9 o'clock meeting in the shower with you. But you're not actually there under the water, feeling the water on your skin. You're off in the future or off in the past. So that's exercising the muscle. The more you do that, the more you realize, when I'm in the shower, I'm in the shower. When I'm brushing my teeth, I'm brushing my teeth. When I'm saying goodbye to my family, I'm saying goodbye to my family. It only takes a fraction of a second longer to do it with awareness.
Okay, so everybody who's watching this right now, the next time you get in the shower, you're going to think, am I in the shower, or are you in the meeting, or are you already on the freeway?
Yeah.
Check.
And as soon as you check, you're back. And you have something you can do about it. If you are obsessed with some kind of thing, worried about how things are going to go that day or whatever, that's all fine. Your awareness is big enough to hold it all. It's not like now you have to suppress all that thinking or the meeting in the shower. The knowing it is good enough. That knowing is what we call awareness. And then it's laughable, so you'll feel better because you have a sense of humor.
Don't you? I have some of my best ideas in the shower, and I think one of the reasons why I actually question why so many great ideas come in the shower. Somebody said it's because of the warm water on the back of your neck, but I think it's also because when you're fully just in that moment, there creates an opening or a clearing for other things to come through.
And that's intimately associated with mindfulness, that creativity and imagination. When we get quiet, when we get still, when we rest, you could say, in awareness, our natural impulse to see connections that we didn't see the moment before is unimpeded. And we can actually make these connections and realize them in ways that we might not have been able to do the moment before.
So being in the shower, when you're really in the shower,
that's meditation practice.
That's a meditation practice.
Yes. And a beautiful one. And guess what? Doesn't take any more time.
Yeah, that's Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, who's written a lot of great mindfulness. And he's a professor emeritus of medicine, and he's the creator of the Stress Reduction Clinic and the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society at the University of Massachusetts. And I've really enjoyed some of his stuff. You know, I too love to do creative thinking when I'm in the shower. I once wrote an entire Disney counting song series in the shower every morning, but I think now when I get in the shower, first I'm going to check with my mind, check in, and make sure that my thoughts are in the shower first before I mindfully decide to write a song or create a sermon idea or something, you know. So what are we thinking? And what are we encouraging into our experience with our thinking? And one way that we encourage certain thoughts to become our experiences to by repeatedly thinking the same thing. So how do we bring balance into that metaphysical creative equation? Well, for example, I mean, you could ask yourself and pay attention to, and I know that I have to, am I balancing the media that I consume so that there's an equity between information and inspiration and learning? I know, like, it's so easy. On the top level of my iPhone, I have the Apple News app, you know, and the Apple News app, you know, connects me to everything, to the Wall Street Journal and to CNN and to Fox News and TMZ and BuzzFeed. And I mean, it's a clearinghouse for all the different opinions in the news and all the different voices in the news and the entertainment that's in the news. And you can go, you know, what's the latest headline and get right off? Or you can go, what's the latest headline, and then dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So am I balancing the media I consume between information that's coming in, inspiration, and learning? I love to learn. I love Wikipedia. I'm one of those people who, if I'm watching something on TV, I often go back and forth between IMDb to learn about the person that is the artist that's in front of me, and to Wikipedia whenever I get an idea, like, oh, they're talking about this, and then I go to this. Sometimes I pause the entertainment because I'm so enthralled with what I'm finding out on Wikipedia. So is there a balance? I know that I have to pay attention to that myself, or I can lead myself down a path of thinking that contains thoughts that I really don't want to make manifest in my experiences. You know, it's really true that we have to pay attention to what we think and what we intend. We don't want to create our life or our experiences just by the default settings of our life. You know, it's really funny because for Mother's Day, the boys and I bought Sharon one of these Alexa studios for Sharon. And it's a very cool, I don't know how many of you might have Alexa, but it's a very cool item. But what's interesting, when you buy an Alexa and you plug it in, the very first thing that it does is it sends out silent sonar signals so that it knows exactly where it is in the room. The size of the room, the shape of the room, whether it's a box or an L shape, or if you're in the kitchen and there's a wall here or whatever. And it also knows how far it is from the walls. And then, based on acoustical modeling, it resets its treble, its bass, and its balance controls on the experience that it wants to create. It reads the room, and then it resets itself based on what it wants to create. It doesn't rely on some factory default settings from some other room where it was made in China. It has the intention of giving you the best sound experience for your room, whatever the shape of your room is, and what the walls are in your room, and whether there's wallpaper or wood or, you know. It does its acoustical, spiritual inner work to create the experience that it wants to manifest. You know, every thought that we have has power. Every thought that we have has power. And our conscious thoughts are the most powerful ones when we back them up with our beliefs and our intentions. Mindful attention to our thinking helps us to demonstrate and create the experiences that we want to choose. Because remember last week we were talking about volition, the power to act independently, the power of conscious choice. There's but one volitional factor in the universe, and that is spirit, the self-knowing mind. Right. For me, volition is the way that God shows its love for us in the most practical way. If we talk about, and we do talk about it all the time, the science of mind being practical spirituality, a science that you can use, a spiritual science that you can use. You get up in the morning, don't feel good about yourself in some way. We have tools, like Reverend Karen said, you could sing that song and you're doing a complete spiritual mind treatment. The way that we teach our kids, to do spiritual mind treatment. God is, I am, all is well, thank you, and so it is. That's a perfectly clear treatment. For me, volition is the way that God shows its love for us in its most practical, usable way. The metaphysical nature of the universe, right? The power to act independently. Our power of conscious choice. There's but one volitional factor, and that is spirit, the self-knowing mind. Dr. Holmes also says it really clearly. He says, man's thought is creative because his thought is God, power, flowing through his individualized will and imagination. I don't know if you can say it any clearer than that. Our thought is creative because it really is God power flowing through us. Henry David Thoreau completely agrees. He wrote, your mind is the most powerful instrument in the universe, and you have a divine gift, the gift of imagination. You get to write or rewrite your own story any way you want. You can become the master of your own experience by creating mindful intentions and daily training your mind to create the life of your choosing. We had Dr. Ken on a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. Ken says something brilliant. He says, the time it takes from treatment to demonstration is the measurement of your disbelief. The time it takes from treatment to demonstration is the measurement of your disbelief. Now, I don't say that so that we'll start to denigrate ourselves because we treated for something and it didn't manifest itself. It's a learning process. We accept ourselves at the spiritual level that we're at. If you do a treatment and it instantly manifests, you know that for that particular set of conscious thought, you have a good connection to your disbelief. You don't have any disbelief. You believe it, right? The time it takes from treatment to demonstration is the measurement of your disbelief. You are born with the ability to have all the faith you'll ever need. Doesn't mean that you have it in every moment, but you're born with the ability to have all the faith you will ever need. Where you put your faith, where you place your faith, that decides what gets manifested as your demonstration. And as religious scientists, we have the spiritual tools of personal and global transformation. And we use these tools like spiritual mind treatment and meditation to train our minds and to activate the power of the universe that's already within us. It's already within us. Setting a powerful and mindful intention is the first step to manifesting that demonstration. That's how thoughts become things. You think about what it is you want to create. You don't just go by your default settings. You think about what you want to create. You do your spiritual work, and then you suspend your disbelief in faith, and things get manifested. So the question is, what intentions are you going to be setting this week? I have a backronym for us. Our backronym is intention. The imaginative nature of my thinking expresses as new, thriving, infinite opportunities now. Intention. The imaginative nature of my thinking expresses as new, thriving, infinite opportunities now. And how does it work? Well, it works because God in us, as us, is us. And I'm saying directly to you, God in you, as you, is you. And that is the truth of who you are. You know, our affirmation for today is all about intention. My faith is strong. My intentions are clear and powerful. Let's say that together. My faith is strong. My intentions are clear and powerful. that is a great affirmation for today. My any day, like John Kabat-Zinn said, by getting in the shower and noticing you're in the shower, you are in the shower. By saying, my faith is strong, my intentions are clear and powerful, you are setting that intention of your faith being strong and your intentions doing the work of your conscious thought. And of course, this is part of our 2020 vision, One Life in Focus, our 2020 vision. And Dr. Holmes teaches us that the way that this works is because our relationship with the universe is perfect God, perfect human, and perfect being. So before we get going next week and the week after, I want to remind you that even when we're going in person, we haven't 100% figured out the collection paradigm yet. So it may be, for all of us or most of us, it may be easier and more efficient and better for us to keep doing our giving or some of our giving through our electronic online possibilities. We'll fill you in as we get closer. That's why we have 2 weeks of practicing to see how we're going to get everything done at the center. So, but for right now anyway, and for the near future, you can continue to give through the Give Plus mobile app. And you can, of course, always go to our website and go down the bottom of our website and click on the Giving Heart. And by the way, speaking of the website, I am going to pass on the CSL position paper on racism to Leslie, who is our webmaster, and have her put that up as a link on our website easily, and with a link from our first page that says see the Centers for Spiritual Living position paper on racism and radical inclusivity. So it'll go to a separate page, but we'll have a link right on our main website page, and I'll have her do that this week. And so let's go ahead and say, by the way, you can also stop by the center. The parking lot is, in fact, beautiful and cured. You can drive on the parking lot. You can walk on the parking lot. You can put a tithe into our mailbox. We are going to start having office hours again starting next week. The High Desert Center for Spiritual Living is at 18575 Corwin Road, Apple Valley, California, 92307. And of course, our website is highdesertcsl.org. I want to let you know in advance that next week, Sunday is the 21st, and then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be out of town. I haven't taken any time off at all since long before the pandemic, but I'm actually heading up to Modesto to visit my niece overnight, and then going to Santa Rosa to go see Reverends Melissa Felipe and Z Egloff. They are setting up a new recording studio stuff in their house, and I promised them that I would help them get that going. So I'm going to do that, ride up on my motorcycle, ride back on the coast, take a couple of days. And so let's do our giving statement to confirm together how we feel about supporting ourselves and our center through the circular nature of giving and receiving. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And of course, I always try and remind myself to say, I bless this gift in faith, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly every time I go to Amazon or even Albertsons. This is the information for the Zoom info. I did send it out this morning. I'm just double checking on my phone that it did in fact go out and that it matches this. Yes, 858-7966-1921. That is the Zoom meeting ID, and the password is mindful, so that we don't get Zoom bombed by somebody that doesn't really attend our center. Of course, you can call in on that number, 669-900-6833. Let's close with our New Thought benediction and all is well before heading out with God Makes Me Want to Sing. I want to thank Reverend Karen Mitchell again and her husband Kevin Crean for doing music today. What a blessing. I want to thank Clay for being our practitioner today and that beautiful treatment. And let's all just take a breath together. All is well, and I am grateful. all is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. I know that the infinite, indwelling Spirit blesses and protects us. I know that Spirit is kind and gracious through each and every one of us. And I know that Spirit shines its light upon us and gives us peace and is our peace. And so it is. Amen. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. One more time. Life is good, and so it is. Everybody have a great day. Have a great week. Let's be conscious about our participation in our society. Let's be proactive about all our brothers, loving all our brothers and sisters. Let's not just be not racists. Let's also, all of us, be anti-racists. And I'll see you on Zoom. And I look forward to us starting back up and getting together again. And here's Daniel Nahmod before we go to Zoom.
If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? Oh, but fortune and fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. But is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit tall?